are you? Welcome to my newest live stream where we will be talking about the zodiac signs and their polar opposites. Welcome to my podcast live stream. You can find my podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, Anchor, and other platforms. My goal in 2021 is to work very hard on my podcast because I really like podcasting, I'm finding. And I kind of like this live stream platform where I record the stream, where I stream it live on video and then just kind of convert it to audio. But anyways, nonetheless, thank you for listening and watching. My name is Lamarr Townsend. I am a tarot reader, a psychic, an energy channeler, and an astrologer. Make sure you follow me, subscribe, keep in touch with me on my Spotify, Apple, Google, and other podcast platforms. Also follow me on my Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Vimeo as well. Lamarr Townsend Tarot is my handle on all those platforms. And yeah, thank you for listening and watching. If you would like a personal reading as well, because I do personal readings, or, I am available for personal readings. So I do psychic tarot readings, birth chart readings. I do past life readings. I also do candles and other things. So definitely check out my website, LamarrTownsendTarot.com. Once again, the link should be in the description box below, comment section below, my profile, something like that. All right. So zodiac signs and their polar opposites. So all of the zodiac signs, each of the 12 zodiac signs, have a polar opposite zodiac sign, meaning that each zodiac sign has another zodiac sign that is a stark contrast to the other said zodiac sign, or is a stark contrast to one another in terms of personality, in terms of choices, in terms of how they express themselves. But the one thing I always say when it comes to astrology and tarot readings, especially if you get birth chart readings from me, one thing you will consistently hear me say is that opposites attract, or opposites have a lot in common. So even though opposites are opposites, they are contrasted, all right? They do actually have a lot in common, which makes it such a significant phenomenon in astrology, oppositions. Now, the interesting thing in astrology as well, in an astrological birth chart, is that when you have an opposition in your birth chart, it's actually not a good thing. It's actually a really, really difficult placement. Like someone that has a lot of oppositions in their birth chart is going to have a lot of struggles in their life. And the thing with oppositions is that they tend to show up in your interpersonal relationships. So, most of the time, depending on what planets are oppositional to one another. So, but then once again, the ironic thing about oppositions is that you have to learn to see that you're alike. Like you're opposite, but you're alike. It's kind of the thing where, like, a hater is just basically someone who, like, sees something in you that they maybe don't like about themselves or they're struggling with in themselves, but they're just projecting that onto you, and, like, saying it's wrong, or, but it's like you are me. Like, it's kind of like that's how oppositions work. Sometimes that's how it'll show up in your natal chart. Like, literally that will be a thing for you. Maybe in terms of opposition, you would have to get a birth chart reading. Once again, LamarrTownsendTarot.com. But, like, that would be a good example of, like, how an opposition would show up in terms of your natal chart. Who's in the room? Who's in the Twitch room? Hi, Lenny. How are you? Thank you for being here. Welcome to my Twitch. By the way, if you're new to my Twitch, make sure you subscribe or follow. If you're new to my podcast, make sure you subscribe or follow as well. By the way, I have been getting so many comments on YouTube about how skinny I've been looking, how fit I've been looking lately, and I've been loving those comments. Thank you all. I haven't been commenting back because I'm not the best at that, but I always like the comment or love the comment. So thank you all for telling me how skinny I look. By the way, I'm not wearing my waist trainer right now. You guys know I've been wearing my waist trainer. I'm actually not wearing it. I'm done waist training for the day. So that's one of my secrets is that I've been waist training. That's probably my main secret is that I literally waist train for I try to do it for like 6 to 8 hours a day. I know we're getting off topic. We'll get back on topic soon, but I try to do it for 6 to 8 hours a day. I have not been going to the gym because we're in the pandemic. Although the gym is open, I just don't feel comfortable going. So I've just been waist training, and it's actually been working for me. So I don't understand. Maybe we'll do a podcast episode on waist training. I don't know, or something. But I don't understand how there's not like any information about waist training. Everything I see about waist training on Google is like it doesn't work, it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I'm like it's really working for me. So I don't know. Anyway, back on topic. I digress. Thank you for your comments, but oppositions in terms of natal charts, in terms of the zodiac. Very, very interesting topic. So, like I was saying, every zodiac sign has an oppositional zodiac sign. All right, meaning every zodiac sign has an opposite zodiac sign. Now, when it comes to oppositions, the main thing is think of the oppositions in terms of elements. Elements. All right. What takes out fire? All right. Well, no, actually, no. Wait. No, because fire and water aren't necessarily oppositional. See, that's the trick. Wait, no, I'm getting it mixed up. When it comes to oppositions, don't think of the elements. Like, don't let the elements get you confused because actually, when it comes to the oppositions, I just got confused. When it comes to the oppositions, it's actually fire and air. All right, and water and earth. Which, if you think about it in terms of elements, kind of makes sense in terms of oppositions because if you think about it, like air kind of fuels the flame of fire, right? Which can be a good or bad thing depending on the situation. Water, in terms of earth, can water can overflood earth. Earth can become really dry and deprived of water. So they kind of need a balance of both, but too much of one can be catastrophic, right? Like, kind of deep if you think about it. Anyways, so when it comes to the oppositions, the elements are once again fire and air are in opposition to one another. That means all fire signs and all air signs have one, are in opposition to one another. Not all. Wait, let me rephrase that. That means every fire sign has an opposition in at least one of the air signs, and every air sign has at least one opposition in the fire signs. In terms of the other elements, earth and water, they are oppositional. All right, so this means that every water sign has at least one earth sign that it's in opposition to, and every earth sign has at least one water sign that it's in opposition to. All right. So think of it in that way in terms of oppositions. Don't think in terms of like fire takes out water and earth, and air, I don't know, creates tornadoes. Like I don't know, like don't think of it in that way. Like think of it more so in terms of air fuels the flames of fire, which in certain cases can be good. All right, sometimes we need that, to keep warm, like we need that. Sometimes it can be a really bad thing. We don't know how to contain it, right? The other oppositional elements, air or earth and water, the balance of the two creates, sustainability. It creates, like a really good environment for vegetables to grow and life to grow and blah 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 blah. But too much water creates, flooding. All right, it creates situations like Hurricane Katrina. Unfortunately, too much dryness, like the desert, creates dehydration of not only people but the land and things of that nature. So neither's good, right? All right, oppositions. All right, each sign in terms of oppositions. Let's start with the fire and the airs. All right. So Sagittarius's oppositional zodiac sign is Gemini. All right. Sagittarius is ruled by the ninth house in astrology. It's ruled by Jupiter, all right, which is all about higher education, higher learning, long distance travel. Sagittarius, Jupiter in the ninth house is also about your personal philosophies and beliefs. Good luck. It is also about taking risks, your sense of open mindedness. In contrast to that, Gemini, the third house, is about your intellect, the mind, communication, all right, how you communicate. It's also your young childhood to young adult years, which, during that time period, you tend to reflect what's taught to you or what you see, not necessarily what you believe or what you want to pursue, which is the ninth house energy, all right? But if you notice something, like they have a lot in common. Like they both have intellect in common. They both have, this kind of free-spirited nature about them, Mercury, Gemini, and Sagittarius. But in contrast, Gemini is more so sometimes limited in their expressions of themselves, are limited in their thinking or their creativity. They only can go so far, or they're only willing to go so far, based on, what they're taught, their own restrictions of themselves. But Sagittarius is what pushes past that limit that Sagittarius can't push past, and this is once we, because everyone has a natal chart, right? So think of it in this way, like Gemini is the third house in astrology. Mercury is your young childhood to young adult years. So literally Gemini rules everyone in general, all right? Everyone's, I would say, until you're born, until you're 18 to 21 is your Gemini years. Now, what Gemini, is in your natal chart is going to rule how that time frame looks like for you, right? But then after the age of 21, you get into your ninth house Jupiter Sagittarius years, right? Which is the polar opposite. And that's why sometimes growing up, you have situations where you'll grow up being one way, and then this is me, I'm speaking me. And then as you grow up, you become the total opposite of what you were taught to believe, or your family or your friends, and suddenly maybe you're in opposition. And the interesting thing about the ninth house in Sagittarius is it rules debates and things of that nature, because now you're in your beliefs and your opinions and you're living your life. So it creates this weird dichotomy. So anyways, that's that whole situation with the opposition of Gemini and Sagittarius, all right? Hi, Natural Mystic, how are you? Thank you for being here. I don't think I've ever seen you in my chat, I guess. Yeah, this is a chat. So, the second of the fire and air signs to be oppositional would be Leo and Aquarius. Leo in astrology is ruled by the fifth house, the sun, which is creativity, your childhood as well, and children. It also does rule your connection to your life purpose and your higher self. Leo is also your self-expression, and Leo's like the actor of the zodiac. It's very theatrical, very self-expressive. That's Leo energy. Very powerful. Aquarius in opposition is the 11th house, Uranus, which rules friends, acquaintances, social groups. It also rules how you go about living your life and how you go about getting what you want, and expressing yourself as compared to how society maybe expects you to be, or stereotypes you to be, based on race, religion, and blah, 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 gender. Aquarius is you being who you want to be. It's interesting how that seems to be a theme. There's one aspect that's a little bit limited, and then there's another that pushes past that limit. Anyways, that is Aquarius. Aquarius is also technology. Aquarius is also innovation. Aquarius is also aliens, literally, rules aliens. That's why in the Aquarius age that we're in, we're having a lot of extraterrestrial activity. You guys know I believe in the aliens, okay? So yeah, that's Aquarius in opposition to Leo. But once again, if you notice that they have a lot in common still. They both have this kind of thing going with self-expression, all right? Leos are very generous, friendly people. Both of them can be very friendly. But Leo, in contrast to Aquarius, Leo can be very much about self. It's self-expression. It's the experience of self. It's your connection to your life purpose and your higher self. Only you have that connection only you have that connection. In contrast, Aquarius is the your higher self connection with the collective, right? Aquarius is not necessarily following trends, whereas Leo may like to stay on trend. Leo, like Aquarius, can make something that is off trend like cool. Whereas Leo, it's a little bit of a different expression. Once again, we have fire and air. Aquarius is definitely more intellectual, whereas Leo's more creative, off the cuff. All right. So, but both have a lot in common. Once again, the theme of Leo being your childhood, and Aquarius is you pushing past the limits of what's projected onto you, or what you're expected to be even as a child. Like someone with a very interesting Leo placement or sun placement or fifth house placement, like maybe even having a sun in Aquarius especially, or fifth house in Aquarius, that child's going to be different. Like that child, from the jump, they're going to be, unique, and they're not going to probably have the normal child experience, or, they're not going to, like, there's going to be something about them that's going to be different, as compared to someone who is a sun in Leo or a fifth house in Leo. Like, that may be the perfect child, like, the child that, like, every step of the way they hit the mark, like, it's like, but, you expect, everything about them is expected. It's the prom king, the prom queen, that's like Leo, whereas Aquarius is like, they have the awkward years, and they kind of shut themselves out from the family. Maybe they're the black sheep growing up, but then they become the Steve Jobs of the family, or the innovator of the family. But the Aquarius just needs that room and environment to just be and not be judged. All right. They're gonna be judged anyway, but they need to learn to, like, just be. Like, that's Aquarius. That's you getting into your Uranus 11th house years, which is probably around your teen years. I would say is when that starts. Anyway, I digress. What time are we on? I don't even know. I'm not even paying attention to the time. This might be a short little podcast. All right. We'll see. I don't know. Anyways, let's see what else is going on. Okay, so we have Aries and Libra. Ooh, one of my faves. All right, I'm a Libra moon myself. Um, Aries is Mars. It's the first house. It's your rising sign. It is how people see you. It's your self-image. It's your reputation. Aries, the first house in Mars is also your physical appearance. It's also your general outlook on life, um, and things of that nature. All right. So as an Aries, when it comes to Aries, Aries cares a lot about what people think by nature. Aries is someone that cares a lot about what people think about them. It doesn't necessarily mean Aries is going to take into account what people think about them. All right, but just, the fact that people are thinking about them is a good thing, or talking about them is a good thing for Aries, right? But an Aries always wants to, make sure that they put on a good reputation. Now, in contrast, Aries doesn't necessarily need anyone to validate them in actuality, which can create an environment of arrogance. All right. Once again, childhood, a child thinks the world revolves around them. That's like Aries. But then you grow up and then you realize, oh, you have to live in this world and other people matter. That's Libra, right? In contrast to Aries. Libra is the seventh house in astrology. It is ruled by Venus, which is all about one-on-one relationships, business partnerships. It is also marriage. It is also, technically, Venus is money, how you make your money, how you spend your money, although that is technically the second house, Taurus. But I digress. Libra specifically is all about relationships, harmony, building connections with others. Um, and Libra see the value in that. Libra, in contrast to Aries, sees the value in getting other people on your side and winning people over, and socializing and social networking, because really, you know, having connections, is like can be more important or more powerful than being the most powerful person in the room or the most dominant person in the room, the most well-known person in the room, like an Aries, but it's like, if other people can't vouch for you, then, it's like, does your presence or is your austere really validated if other people can't vouch for you, if other people can't say, yeah, they're a good person? Like, that's Libra, whereas Libra will work to create the connections and put in the work to, make connections with people, especially like-minded people, people that make a Libra feel good, or, maybe even people that Libra can make feel good. It's like Libra really cares about people, most of the time, all right? The ironic thing is that Libra can have a vain side to them too, all right? Opposites do attract. Libra cares a lot about what people think about them, all right? Similar to Aries, but in opposition to Aries, Libra can care too much about what people think about them, and a Libra can lose an essence of who they truly are. So that's the thing with, Libra, is that, like, you have to remain balanced in who you are. This is me, this is you. We are one, I guess. So we are, we're together. But I still have my life and you still have your life, and that's okay, and, we can still support one another, and, like, that's Libra. Whereas Aries is like, my life is more important, and maybe I want to share with you, maybe I don't. That's that like really arrogant. Aries is like the child that grew up the only child. That they never learned how to share, or they never learned the importance of sharing, as compared to the child that grew up around a lot of siblings or cousins, or something like that, right? Where they had to share and create. That's Libra. Anyways, air, water, and earth. Let's start with Pisces and Virgo. Are there any Pisces and Virgos in the room? Pisces is a water sign traditionally ruled by the 12th house, which is Neptune in astrology. Ironically, Pisces is also ruled by Jupiter, but technically, Pisces is ruled by solely Neptune, co-ruled by Jupiter, but the main ruler of Pisces is Neptune. Neptune rules secrets. Neptune rules hidden affairs, life behind closed doors. Neptune also rules your need for solitude, your connection to spirituality. It rules creativity. It rules your dreams, your connection to the dream world and the spirit realm. Pisces is a very spiritual sign. Pisces is getting past that practicality of Virgo of needing everything to be perfect, which we're going to get into in a minute, and just kind of flowing with life, and also understanding that there's more to life than meets the eye, all right, both literally and figuratively, all right. Pisces tend to be very spiritual people, but ironically, Virgo, its polar opposite zodiac sign, is quite spiritual as well, all right. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, which is also the ruler of the sixth house. So that means Mercury rules both Virgo and Gemini, okay? But Virgo is ruled by the sixth house, Mercury, which is all about your daily routine, your sense of organization. It also rules your job, your work, your approach to your health. Virgo is getting up, and, every day you wake up at 8 a.m., and at 10 a.m., by 10 a.m., you're hitting the shower. By 11 a.m., you're eating breakfast. By 12 p.m., you're at the gym. And it's like everything is planned, which kind of creates no room for growth. So Virgo is like, once again, Mercury. So it rules, obviously, your young childhood to young adult years. Pisces would be you pushing past that and realizing, man, maybe, it's okay to not, like, have to wake up so early like my parents made me when I was little, or like we had to when we were going to school. Maybe now that I'm this age, or maybe now that I'm doing this, maybe I can set my own rules. Maybe man-made rules don't apply to me anymore. Certain man-made rules, all right? That's Pisces. Now, the interesting thing with Pisces is that Pisces, in that sense, can get a little bit delusional, all right? A little bit, too much in the air and too much, not grounded. Now, the thing that Virgo has going for them is that they're very grounded. Having structure grounds you, right? But having no structure can unground you. So that's one thing Pisces needs to learn, and that's why, it's interesting as you, think about it like this, a kid that goes off to college, their whole life they've had structure. Well, like maybe this is pre-COVID, I don't know. But their whole life they've had structure, but now they go to college and now they have to set their own rules, and they don't have their parents, waking them up in the morning telling them to get up, and you're 5 minutes late for the bus or whatever, and they struggle with that. They're late for their classes, they fail, they have to drop out, they have to move back home because they had no structure, all right? They didn't know structure, all right? That's Pisces, okay? Structure is important, but also going with the flow is important too, all right? Being practical and sticking to a routine is good, but also, there's also something about having a routine in terms of the spirituality, like a spiritual routine. The one thing I like about Pisces is that Pisces is very creative. So, Pisces, music is a big thing with Pisces. So Pisces, music for Pisces can be very spiritual. So, Pisces may have a thing where every night before they go to bed, they'll just listen to music, really calming music, and vibe. And that puts them in a spiritual mood, and that spiritually grounds them. That's important for Pisces. Having a spiritual routine is just as important, as if not more important, than having some sort of literal physical routine for Pisces, I'll say. All right? You start to learn the importance of oh, I need some sort of spiritual routine because life is starting to get harder as I get into these Pisces Neptune years. All right. Ooh, y'all, I need a drink. I'm talking a lot, you guys. Let me take a sip of water. How are you guys doing? Hit the comment section below. Hit the like button. Let me know you're enjoying this video. I think we have 2 more sets of signs to go. Once again, if you want a reading from me, if you want a birth chart reading or anything, check out my website, LamarrTownsendTarot.com. All right, the next set is Scorpio and Taurus. So Scorpio is traditionally ruled by Pluto, the 8th house, which is the house of death, rebirth, evolution, change, spiritual growth. It is also the subconscious. Scorpio is also sex and sexuality. Scorpio is a very intense energy. Pluto is a very intense energy. All right. Scorpio is all about learning one's inner strength, learning the power of oneself. All right. In contrast to Taurus, which is about learning the power of working hard and attaining wealth and attaining things and not necessarily focusing on the self. So in this case, Taurus is the more limited aspect, where Scorpio is you pushing past your limits and realizing your true limits, which, really were unlimited. That's the Scorpio, rising from the Scorpio to the Phoenix kind of thing, that whole cliche trope. But anyway, Taurus is the 2nd house in astrology, which is Venus, which is money, how you make your money, how you spend your money. It is also your sense of economic security, your things, your house, your home, all right, your car. That's all Taurus. That's all your 2nd house, which are important. You work hard for your money. Dun, 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 dun. I get it, but what's also important is working hard on yourself too. There's something about doing the inner work. And the interesting thing is that shadow work, that's Scorpio. All right. Shadow work is Pluto. All right. facing your demons and doing the healing work, and even if it looks ugly, doing the ugly cry, and like whatever that looks like for you, doing the work, that's Pluto, to get to the other side, to get to more a more spiritually powerful place, all right? A more spiritually powerful place of understanding yourself and understanding life and understanding hardships and understanding that hardships don't last. But the interesting thing about Taurus is that, like, Taurus learns that, like, things don't last. Your car breaks down. You lose your job. You lose money. Like, like you lose your girlfriend. You lose your boyfriend. Like, you realize that things don't really matter, do they, as much as, maybe the self. As maybe as other people and themselves. Like that's Taurus and Scorpio. The contrast between the two. Which is an interesting segue, I think, into the last set of zodiac signs, Cancer and Capricorn. Cancer is ruled by the moon. Cancer is also ruled by the fourth house, which is the family, the home. It's how you emotionally express yourself. It's how you express your emotions. It's also how you deal with your emotions. It is how you emotionally connect with others. It's also what you need to feel emotionally secure. It's also the mother, your relationship with your mother. In contrast, Capricorn is Saturn, which is the 10th house in astrology, which is your status in life, your career, your professional destiny. It is debt, weight, illness. It is also the father, or your father, your relationship with your father. So the interesting theme here is that Cancer and Capricorn are both parents of the zodiac, both naturally people who most likely at a young age have to be older than they need to be, right? Who have to be maybe a parent in some way, who have to be, grown up at a young age, basically. Capricorn in a more practical way, maybe Capricorn's lesson, is, nothing ain't free. Saturn is not an easy planet to work with. Trust me, I have like 5 planets in Saturn, all in my 5th house in Capricorn, all right? Saturn is not an easy planet. Capricorn learns at a young age that nothing ain't free. That you really have to work, hard for what you earn. But the interesting thing about that is that Saturn not only makes you a tough person mentally and physically, but it also makes you a tough person emotionally because of what you go through with Saturn. All right. Cancer, emotions. Cancer at a young age has to be emotionally more mature or emotionally grown up. Maybe they have like a parent or siblings or a situation where, they have to kind of learn to master their feelings at a young age, or what they think is mastering their feelings in a young age, in order to help others with their feelings, and in order to help other people and let them know that they're okay. But like, the thing with that is that like does Cancer, as they age and grow, have the wherewithal to learn to master their feelings in a healthy way, or to deal with their feelings in a healthy way? Because that's what Cancer needs to be healthy. Like, hello. So, but the interesting thing is that like both have this thing where Capricorn needs to learn to be more emotional and more vulnerable, all right? Cancer needs to learn to be less emotional and more practical, all right? The two can butt heads on that, all right? Capricorn hates that Cancer's emotions getting in the way. Cancer can't stand that Capricorn has no emotions or seems to have none, right? Capricorn does, but they just don't like showing it because they don't like being vulnerable, all right? Because emotions for them, in certain instances, can be taught that emotions are not important if you have Capricorn energy in your chart. Capricorn is suck your emotions up, suck it up, and deal with it. Cancer can have the same. Cancer can have the same experience as well, though. But a Cancer, both need balance in terms of emotions and practicality. Period. But the interesting thing about Capricorn as well is that Capricorn can be the lone wolf. So Capricorn thinks that they can do it all themselves. Capricorn's the father, like, but Cancer, takes care of the home. Cancer takes care of the family. Cancer's with the family. Cancer has the support of the family. Like, everything is on Capricorn's back. Or is Capricorn putting everything on their back? Like, like Capricorn could put a little bit of the weight on other people, or like, like it's like this kind of thing where Capricorns can make it unnecessarily hard for themselves because they don't like to be vulnerable. Like, literally. Like, it's okay to be vulnerable, you know? Our opposition's messy. Hit the like button if you like this podcast. Please subscribe, follow me. I can't wait until our next podcast episode. Thank you for listening and watching. Definitely, if you want a personal reading, um, check me out, LamarrTownsendTarot.com. Follow me on Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Follow my podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google. The link to my podcast on Spotify actually will be in the profile on my Twitch. All right, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Love and light. Thank you for listening and watching.